Thanks, Rob, for that introduction and for organising this rally. You know, it's hard to believe it's 12 months since we were last here. And just for all the work that you do throughout the year, you and the team, because things like this don't just happen. Attendance on picket lines just doesn't happen. There's people working really hard behind the scenes on a shoestring to do all that work. So thank you to you, Rob, and the team at National Shop Stewards Network for everything that you do. As a union, the Bakers Food and Allied Workers Union has always stood for the principle that an injury to one is an injury to all. And I've just apologised in another fringe. You're going to hear that a lot this week because I think it's important that we keep hammering that message home. You know, right now, disabled people are under attack. Cuts to benefits, punitive assessments, constant scapegoating in the media, and it's disgraceful, isn't it? That is happening to people in our communities, in our families, in our trade unions. Disabled people are being forced into poverty, stripped to dignity and told that they are the problem, when the real problem is the economic system that puts profit before people, and we can't be saying that enough either. And let's be honest, and apologies if this point's already been made, but austerity didn't end, did it, with the Tories being voted out last year. Working people are still paying the price, food prices are still sky high, wages are still far too low, and homes are still far too cold and far too damp. Public services are still being cut back to the bone. There was an announcement only a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure Steve, I only caught the back end of what he said, but Willa mentioned it, that, you know, firefighter cuts are happening and jobs will go as a result. And that means that disabled people, low-paid workers, young people are all going to be the ones that are feeling these cuts and these attacks the hardest. And we see it every day in our union, members having to choose between heating and eating, you know, disabled workers being pushed out of their jobs or being left without the support that they need, or reasonable adjustments not being made because it's too difficult to do that. The employer doesn't make enough money if they've got to put adjustments in place. And young people in food factories on poverty pay, no security. And then you see these corporations, these huge supermarkets, these huge global companies, not just making profit, but making multi-billion pounds worth of profit on the back of these people that are struggling themselves. And that's the reality, isn't it, of Labour's so-called fiscal discipline. It means more austerity, just with a different name and a different colour rosette, and we've got to push back against that as a movement. And I think the call by the NSSN to support the Trades Council motion, you know, and Steve's absolutely right, Trades Councils are vital to our trade union movement. If you go up to Scotland at the STUC, they take part in conference, they're fully involved and integrated in it, and we should have that in England too. But the call to pass this motion is so important. Passing a motion at TUC Congress, though, is one thing, and it's good, and you can put some comms out about it. But unless those motions are backed up with action, they're just words on paper, aren't they? We've got to have the TUC leading from the front, organising a demonstration against austerity, standing with disabled members of the working class, and to give confidence to every trade union branch across this country that now is the time to fight back, build and grow our movement, because the alternative, and let's be real here, the alternative is, I didn't think I'd need that, the alternative is that there will be more fascist protests, and they won't just be outside hotels attacking refugees. There will be outside, you know, workplaces, trade union offices. There will be outside places where they know disabled people attend, because that's what fascists do. And yes, not everybody on those demos are fascist people, but it's pulling more and more people from our communities, our trade unions even, into that rhetoric and that mindset. And we've got to fight back around that. And that means we've got to organise on the ground, you know, real, proper, hard work, organising, talking to people one-on-one around why it's important to collectivise in the workplace, why it's important not to believe the rhetoric. We've got to support that with demonstrations, and I said this, I think it was last year, possibly even at this meeting, that I said if Labour Party don't do what they say on the tin, then we should be outside demonstrating outside 10 Downing Street, just like we have done for the last 15 years with the opposition. We've got to have strikes. We've got to have solidarity across unions, and it's great to see Jo here from Sheffield, because the fact that they've been on strike for so long is just a testament to those workers for pushing for what they need and not what their employer is trying to impose, and sustained action until we win. We've got to support workers in our movement unequivocally, and I think, you know, the Bakers, Food and Allied Workers Union are really strong in doing that. We're not, maybe can't do what FBU do and put money in there, but we will turn up and we will support and we will give solidarity. So from the Bakers Union, we say clearly that we back the call on this motion. We need a mass campaign. We need to be rooted in workplaces and communities that says no to austerity, no to attacks on disabled people, and yes to a future that is built on solidarity and justice. We've got to use this opportunity this week, not just to pass motions and to pat ourselves on the back and say, yeah, we've done that, but to actually start the groundwork and the beginning of a real fight back, led by workers, for workers, to push this government to do what they should be doing and not what the businesses want them to do. Thank you ever so much.